Scott Simpson, I understand it's a 5-minute call.
Correct. Mr. Speaker, and there we had it. The big problem with the Labor Party is a speech from that member who comes from Dunedin, speaking in riddles, speaking in slogans, speaking in a confused and glass half-empty way, the sort of riddles and slogans that are not resonating at all with Middle New Zealand. And, sir, over the last week or so, we've seen this reverse takeover of a once proud political party in its 100th year, a reverse takeover by the Greens, who are now playing for lead roles. And I bet that member, when he was waxing eloquent in riddles and slogans about why he virtuously decided to stand for the Labor Party and become a Labor Party member, I bet he didn't think for 1 minute that his place in a potential Labor government in 10 or 15 or 20 years' time would actually be taken by a backbench Green List MP from an obscure part of the country, and it would probably be Catherine Delahunty who took his cabinet role. Well, that's the future vision for that party. And, sir, over the weekend I had an opportunity to do a little bit of reading, and I found this wonderful quote from no less a person than that great communist revolutionary Bolshevik Vladimir Lenin himself. And he said this, sir, he said, "The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves." And that's what the Greens have done. They seek to control the opposition by leading it themselves. Sir, what a particularly good budget has been Bill English's 8th budget. 2.8% economic growth forecast for the next 4 or 5 years, a country that has its books back in the black, and options that the government now has that the government simply didn't have 8 years ago, when we were at the peak of the global financial crisis, when we were as a government contending with the tragedy that was the Canterbury earthquakes. And now we find, due to Bill English's careful, prudent, skillful management of the country's books, that we're back in black, and suddenly the government has options that it didn't have 8 years ago. And, sir, in my part of the country, in the beautiful Coromandel, where we've had a summer-like long weekend, things are going exceptionally well. And I will come back to the beautiful Coromandel in just a minute, but I do want to just comment to the House and to people who may be listening or watching this afternoon about how important it is that this government, and Bill English's 8th government, has been focusing on the things that matter for all New Zealanders, focusing on the things that matter for Kiwis and their families, sir. We have, in this 8th budget of Bill English's, been able to invest very significantly further in health and education, 2 of the most important portfolios. And even during those dark days back in 2008, in the middle of the global financial crisis, we were a government that even then was prepared to continue to invest more in education, more in health. And this year, sir, we've been able to provide very significant extra investment that means for people in my electorate, for instance, that more elective surgeries will be available to them. Now, the Minister for Primary Industries, Nathan Guy, spoke about his electorate and Otaki as having, by number, the most mature citizens in the country. Well, it just happens, sir, that the Coromandel electorate has the 2nd highest number of people in the plus 65 age group of anywhere in the country. And so, for that age demographic, things like more spending on the Super Gold Card, terribly important. People have been coming up to me in the street in Thames and in Whitianga over the weekend saying exactly the same things that they've been saying to Nathan Guy and Otaki. Thank goodness that this national government is prepared to spend money and invest in our older people. And it means that in health, that means more hip and knee operations, more elective surgeries for those people, and more support for vulnerable New Zealanders across the range. $94 million, Mr. Speaker, is going to be invested by this government on better regional development initiatives. And, sir, in the provinces like Coromandel and in regional and provincial and rural New Zealand, that's very important, because in my part of the world, sir, we have been reaping the rewards of a growing economy. More jobs, more roading, more people, more tourists. Heaven forbid we've had so many tourists over the summer. In fact, we're getting more by the day. And they're coming because, firstly, they can afford to. They're coming because they want to see a very beautiful part of the country. But they're coming and spending. And they're spending their time and their money in the beautiful Coromandel. So that means more jobs for local people, more opportunity, more investment, and more support from this government. And Sir, another feature of this particular budget has been that we've been able to ensure that there will be more money for local councils like the Thames Coromandel District Council, sir.
Time for the member's speech has expired. Can I just remind members of the requirement in standing orders to address the chair? If the member had, he sort of might have seen signals. One, that he had a minute to go, and two, to wind up. Kanwaljit Singh Bakshi.
Thank you.